Hello dear students, I hope you all are safe and good at home. So welcome to the another session of 2nd PUC English classes. Today's topic is a most beautiful poem on children in your course book or in your Springs book in the page number 16 on children, written by Khalil Gibran. So Khalil Gibran is a Lebanese American poet known to be a spiritual guru. So he talks or he respects much about the ancestors. Got it? The meaning of spiritual is one who respects towards the ancestors much. And in his poems he talks about the most spiritual things. So the Prophet is a collection of poems. The Prophet is a collection of poems has been translated into more than 25 languages. The Prophet mean here he may be the guru, the god man, like that. So the Prophet is a collection of books which is written by Khalil Gibran and it is been translated into more than 25 languages. And this particular poem on children is taken from the book The Prophet. So it is a collection of book, as I told you, it is a collection of poems. So from that poem, one particular poem is on children. So what this on children poem is telling about, let us see now. The theme of the poem offers a wise advice regarding parenting. Here the Khalil Gibran's poems each poem has their own theme and also uniqueness. So this particular poem is offering a advice regarding parenting and enlightens the parents about their duty towards their children. Got it? It is about regarding parenting and also it enlightens the parents about their duties towards their children. Actually, before going into the poem, the story goes like this way. So what the story is here, there were no schools and colleges in those days. So gurus visited the villages and earned their livelihood, and they used to preach about whatever they know about the concepts like love, it can be the tolerance and good and evil, like joy and sorrow, freedom, family, pain, marriage, so on. Okay, so to make them to move in a right way. In those days the people filled their minds with the superstitious beliefs and also myths. There were nobody to guide them to move in a right way or in a right path. So what is gurus they used to do? They used to travel from one place to another and they used to guide the people to move in a right way or in a right path. So this is the actual story. This is how it goes on. So one day a prophet or a guru or a god man, he was traveling from one place to another. So suddenly a woman asks him to advise about the child's upbringing. So first line itself in the poem, you have a woman who held a babe against her bosom said, "Speak to us of children." So the woman asks him to advise. Him refers to here the prophet, to tell something about how they have to upbring, how they have to just tell the few points about upbringing or parenting about the children. So the rest of the poem, the prophet speaks about children to the wide gathering. The rest of the poem is an answer to the question which is asked by the women about the parenting, and the prophet starts or keep on telling or keep on giving reply for the question which is asked by the women to a large gathering or to a wide gathering, not only one or two person like that, not only to a women but to a large gathering. He starts telling or he starts giving information about how the parenting should be, how the upbringing of a child should be. So while giving the reply or while answering the question to a woman, here the prophet says something very surprising. What is that very surprising statement he gives? Let us see. So the follow the lines as I explain. And he said, he refers to here the prophet. What the prophet is telling here to the question asked by a woman, your children are not your children. So mean they do not belong to their parents. Means the children not belong to their parents. Means this statement is very shocking or surprising. Why he tells here this line is, children are born of parents, that is through parents, but not from you. Not from you refers to here, it is parents. Means children are mere biological products, but something higher. They are born for something higher things, to achieve some higher things in the life. They are from God. Means who is the creator of each and every individual here? The God is the creator of each and every individual. Means the life giver here is God, not the parents. Means as I told you in the beginning itself, he is a spiritual guru. He talks most about the spiritual things. So you have to believe that life giver is a God here. So he tells that your children are not your children. Their life comes from their creator. Who is the creator here? The God is the of every child. So the next line, they are the sons and daughters of life's longing for itself. So life, the word, when you just see the life wants to live and live and live. It is a cycle of a life. It is a chain. Okay, it doesn't want to die at all. The life doesn't want to die at all. It is a continuous process. Okay, longing, you have a word called as longing here. Longing is nothing but it is a strong desire to live. So who has a strong desire to live here? The children has a strong desire to live. Means they are the sons and daughters of life which is longing for itself. They have a strong desire in their life to live and live, not to die here. So this is the meaning of the second line. Now they come through you but not from you. Means the poet tries to say that, or the prophet tries to say that children are born through parents. Means as I told you, they are just a biomedia here, but they are not the creators of children. Okay, they are just a parents are just a biomedia with who they help, who helps the child to come to the world, but they are not the creators of children. In this poem, while I am talking about this poem, as I told you, you have to keep two concepts in your mind. One is the literature part, you have to think in that way also, and one is a spiritual part. Okay, in spiritual God, where we have to believe all the things in God. So God is everything, God is a creator, like that you have to keep in your mind. So of course he is, and here he tells that life is created by God. Got it? They come through you but not from you. You may be the biomedia for them to come on the earth, but not from you. They come from where? They come from the God here. And though they are with you, yet they belong not to you. Mean all the time parents feel that their children are theirs, and they become more possessive about their children. All these things happens when it comes to the relationship between a parent and a child, but the children belong to someone else and some other place is trying to tell here. So how the children belongs to somebody or some other places here means, I can give you the example of a tree here. A tree bears a very sweet fruits, everything, but the consuming person will be the other person. Okay, the tree is not supposed to take the sweetness of the fruits, but somebody or some other person will be enjoying the delicious fruits. So in that way, here they are with you, yet they belong not to you, means they belong to somebody else and they belong to some other places. They may be with you, but you should not be possessive about them, and you can't control over them, and you can't take any authority over them, because they belong to tomorrow, which is life longing for itself. And you must give them your love, but not your thoughts, for they have their own thoughts. So this particular line mean that you may give your unconditional love. Okay, the parents may give their unconditional love to them. Why they have to give their unconditional love? Because they have a right to give love, to give shelter, to give food, everything to a child. So you may give your unconditional love to them, but not to shape their thoughts. Mean parents, they are not allowed to shape the thoughts of a children, because their thoughts is in tomorrow. Got it? Their thoughts is in tomorrow, and they are much more faster generation to think very fastly. Got it? So you don't give your thoughts to them, but you can give only your love. And hence these parents can't even insist the children to follow what they have done. Means sometimes the parents are very bad at telling about their past and some rules and regulations to be given by their parents to them, and they wanted that to be followed again. All these things happens few times in few of the families, and most of the families, they are letting free to their children to just be innovative, very creative in their thoughts, ideas, everything. But most of the parents are telling their children to move only in a particular path, only in some ways like that, with some rules, regulations, conditions, some barriers like that. So here the Prophet is trying to tell them, give your unconditional love, but not your thoughts to them, but let them to be free and to build their future according to their wishes. If you just keep some boundaries around them, they will not be able to create new ideas, or they will not be able to come out of the problems or the struggles or the odd things in the life. So if you let them to be free with their thoughts, that helps them to come up in their life. So the next line is, you may house their bodies but not their souls. So parents may house their bodies, means the parents can house their bodies, children's bodies, by giving shelter, like that. Okay, they should give shelter to their bodies but not to their souls, because their soul is much bigger. Okay, body is just a showcase for a soul. That soul is much bigger, and it is very far behind the hold and control of their parents. You can't hold, means the parents can't hold the soul of who? The children, because the soul belongs to life's longing and to God. And because the God is the creator of the child, he holds and he controls the children, and they belong to life's longing but not for the parents. So the parents can't even hold, can't even control the soul of a child. Got it? So they can't take the authority over the child's soul, because it is much bigger, it is far behind the imagination of the parents. And for their souls dwell in the house of tomorrow, which you cannot visit, not even in your dreams. So what this line is referring here, he continues to say, means the Prophet continues to say that children are more smarter, means generation to generation the children are becoming more smarter, more furious, more active, like this. So they can't cope up with the past generations, their speed, their thinking, their innovation, which is very different from the past generation to the present generation. So for their souls, means their souls, their children's souls dwell is nothing but live, where? In the house of tomorrow. House of tomorrow is referring what? The future. Means he tells that children are more smarter than the previous generation, they belong to tomorrow, means the children belong to future generation or to the future, and they are tomorrow's children but not today's children. Means parents are today's children, but children are the future generation, and their future, their house, their dream, everything is in tomorrow. So children, they doesn't think about only today, always their thinking will be about the future and the new innovations, new creativities, like that. Got it? New inventions, like that. And that tomorrow, which tomorrow? The children's tomorrow, the parents can't even see in their dreams. Means the children's tomorrows are that fast, and they are very swift. So parents, they can't even reach the tomorrows of the children in their dreams also, because the parents are being meant to be little slower in their life, little rigid. They have some boundaries, they have some rules and regulations as how the life has to go, everything. But children, they don't care about all these things. What they need? Only some innovation in their life, only to invent something in the life, to be successful, okay, like that. So their dreams, means the parents can't even reach the children's tomorrows, not even in their dreams. And you may strive to be like them, but seek not to make them like you. You refers to parents here. So you may strive. Strive is nothing but here working very hard, struggling hard in the life to be like them. So parents must be like them. You have an Indian saying that parents should become as a friends after a particular age of their children. Okay, so that is very true here. So here the poet is telling that you may strive, you may struggle hard to be like them, like your children, but seek not to make them like you, not to make slower, not to think about the more accumulation of money, thinking about the other things in the future, accumulating something else in the life. So not like that. So don't make your children to be like you, but make is you yourself become like them. Means to be like them means taking things in a very cool manner. You can see the younger generation, how cool they are, very creative, and their fastness, their furiousness, quick in thinking, and quick in doing the things, everything. All these things he tells here to acquire all these aspects in the lives of the parents, and but not to make the children to be like the parents or like them. Okay, so here and understand the line carefully. You may strive. Strive is nothing but to struggle hard. You should struggle hard in the life to be furious, to be quick, to be creative like them, but seek not to make them like you, but see that your children should be not like you. And for life goes not backward nor tarries with yesterday. So he is telling that life does not carry over whatever has happened yesterday, because as I told you, life is a continuous process. Life is like a chain. It keeps on moving. It doesn't like to die at all. So only in the second line itself we can see that they are the sons and daughters of life's longing for itself. Likewise, so whatever happens today, you forget it about these things, or whatever happened yesterday, you forget about those things and you keep on be moving in your life, because life goes not backward. As the parents thinks, life doesn't go to backward. Okay, it and it also not tarries with yesterday. Tarries, here we are learning a new word. Tarries nothing but move around, and it doesn't move with the yesterday also. So life and river, always the two metaphors, they just move forward, not backward. Even the river, it moves forward, and even the life, it moves forward. Life and river, the two metaphors, they just move forward but not backward. So always think about future, not about the past. And don't think more about the children or about the parenting. Don't teach about the old rules also. Who should not teach about the old rules? The parents should not teach about the old rules to the children, because life is about always future. Life means the children's life is always in the future but not in the past. So life goes always forward but not backward. And you are the bows from which your children as living arrows are sent forth. Here again he is using the metaphors to give a clear description of the parenting. So he is taking the metaphor bows. Bows refers to your parents and arrows refers to children. One more questions will be asked. So bows, you are the bows means parents, means here the father represents the metallic part of the bow, the mother represents the string part of the bow. You have seen a bow, right? There will be one metal rod, and for that there will be a string, and with the help of an archer, the archer holds the metallic bow and a arrow in a hand, and he just pushes the arrow, and the arrow will go and reach the one particular target, like that. So the person, one who uses the archer, one who uses the bows and arrows. So here bows refers to parents, means the metallic part may be the father and the string part may be the mother. Here it depends on both parents. What? It is their responsibility to mold and train the arrow. Arrow refers to the children. It is their duty to mold and train the arrow, the children, to reach the correct destination. Got it? The metaphor bow refers to parents, arrows refers to children. So it is both parents' responsibility to take care, to train, to mold the arrows to reach the correct destination, to reach the correct path. Got it? So the archer, again he is using one of the metaphor here. The archer, who is the archer? Archer is a person, one who uses the bows and arrows. So here the archer is God. One more question again. The archer is God, sees the mark upon the path of the infinite, and he bends you with his might that his arrows may go swift and far. Means the archer, the God, work is to set a target. Means the God has given the target for each and individual. He knows in which path the child has to move. Here see, the parents are not the decision makers. The God is the decision maker. He knows in which path the child has to move, because every child has their own path and destiny to travel. So God has already created a path. For whom? For every individual, God has already created a path. He let the arrow. Who is letting the arrow? Because he is the archer, he has to let the arrow. So God is letting the arrow to go. What? To go swift and far. Swift here, the meaning is fast. So God or the archer lets the arrow, lets the child to go swift and far. Swift is nothing but fast and far. For where it has to go fastly? To reach the destination. Means here everything is already destined by a God. Got it? Mean we have to believe in the destiny. Okay. So everything is already destined by a God. parents are just molding and training the children to go and reach the target which is been made by the archer or by the god. That is the meaning of this statement here. The archer sees the mark upon the path. We are seeing the god is seeing the mark upon the path. Path is nothing but the destination of the infinite, and he bends you. You have to bend. Okay, he is not breaking you, he is bending you. The archer is bending you with his might. Might is nothing but with his power. Okay, with his superpower, supernatural powers, he is been bending you with his power, with his might, that his arrows may go swift and far. Okay, his arrows means his children. Okay, we all are children of God. So his arrows may go swift and far to reach the destination in a very fast manner and in a very quick manner. So now we have to believe in destiny. Everything is fixed by the God in our life. Every individual has his own path. So in that path we have to move in a right way by taking the support, by taking the help of our parents. So the next line, let your bending in the archer's hand be for gladness. So what he is telling, let your bending refers to parents bending in the archer's hand. Means while the archer uses the arrow, he has to bend a bow little bit. Okay, bending here means he doesn't want it to break, he doesn't want it to hurt the feelings of the parents. So while bending the hands of the archer, we have to bend for what? For a gladness, means for a joy, for a happiness. Okay, if the parents do these things, the children's lives goes and fix in the proper destiny. Means the children can move faster, they can go fast and fix in a proper destiny or a target. When the parents bend in the hands of the archer for the gladness, then their children's life, means the parents' children's life, will go and reach in a proper destiny or in a proper target. So the next line, for even as he loves the arrow that flies, so he loves also the bow that is stable. Means for even as he loves the arrow that flies, means parents are also born for a purpose in life. Not only the children, but parents are also born for a purpose in life. Purpose, what does a purpose mean here? The purpose is to let the arrow to reach the destination. Let us all bend in the hands of the God. For what? For happiness. Means we have to bend in front of the heart God. We have to surrender ourselves in front of the God for happiness, but not to grumble in the life, but not to struggle in the life. If we bend happily, then the God gives the happiness in our life. Means in life, and he is been telling that he loves both the archer, he loves both the bows and also the arrows. He doesn't like only the children who are fast enough, who are furious enough, who are quick in thinking. Not like that. He loves the parents who are stable also, means who are stagnant also, and he loves the parents also who are very stable in their life, and he loves the boys also which are very quick. The boys also, the parents who are very stable, and also he loves the arrows that are flying for a higher heights also. Means here he is telling that, the prophet is telling that he loves everyone on the earth. Got it? So the next, he concludes the poem like this way. Means if this is the truth of life. What is the truth of life? So everything is already destined for us in the life by the God who is the creator of all the living things on this world. Okay, if everything is destined already for us, the path, the goal, everything is destined, why we have to struggle in our life, why we have to grumble in our life? If we understand these things in our life, means in our life, everybody, parents, children, everybody, if we understand these things, then the life becomes very happier. It doesn't become miserable at all. Means we have to keep these things in mind. Means the parents have to keep these things in their minds, and they have to support the harrow, means the children. Their work is to support the children to fly to the higher heights in the life and to reach the correct destiny. If that parenting is not going in a right way, then the children's life becomes very miserable. Got it? So parents' duty is only here, as I told you, the theme of the poem here, he's advising. It is advice regarding parenting, as I told you. So parenting should be like this way. You have to think that they are not your children, because they are the children of a creator and they belong to the tomorrows, and you should give only your love, not your thoughts. You may house only their bodies but not their souls. Got it? Like this way you have to give the parenting to the children. If not, the life becomes miserable. And don't think too much about the parenting or about the children, because everything is already been destined by the God or by the creator. Got it? We all are the creators of the God. So leave everything to the God. Be very calm, and also accept whatever the things comes in the life as it is. Don't control over your children. Don't be much possessive about your children. That is the advice where the poet is giving to a woman or to all the parents through this poem. So this is the conclusion of the poem. Got it? So in the next session we will discuss about the glossary and the comprehension questions. So this is about today's class. Thank you.